Hey there. I wanted to run through this quick little time travel power-up thing that I built in UEFN. To get started, I'm just going to demonstrate the ability so that you see what it is. I'm going to count to 5, or I'm going to throw this stink, count to 5, and my health and my position should reset to where I was 5 seconds ago. So right now I'm by this pillar, and I have 100 health. So let's throw this and count to 5, shall we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. Look, back at 100 health, back by this pillar. It's like our little run through that stinky cloud of yuckiness never even happened. And just to show that it's not just a teleport from back to that pillar button, we'll start here at this X. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. We're back at that X. All right. So how does this thing work? Oh, thanks. Autosave. So we triggered that using a signal remote, right? Signal remotes are kind of neat. They let you, it's like a button that you just carry around in your pocket, man. So we're using a green one. Okay, so we got to put down a signal remote manager. It doesn't matter which color as long as these two are the same. Okay, so signal remote manager, to change the color, we click into this signal remote tier, and if this was a blue one, we would change it to rare, just like how like the rarity of weapons and whatnot in Fortnite is. But this is a green one, so we're going to set it to uncommon. And to spawn in this guy, signal remote, sometimes it'll let you just like type in signal remote and just grab one and drop it, and sometimes that doesn't work. I don't know why. So if you can't get it to spawn in, instead create an item spawner. An item spawner. Oh my god, there's so many. This guy. Item spawner, drop that guy in, and then you can go down to item list, hit the little plus, open her up, and in here you can make it spawn pretty much whatever you want, right? So signal, and here we have all the different colors, so that one gets to be a purple one, I suppose, but I don't even want it. So that's how we get that guy going. Okay, outside of there, let's look into our game manager that's hiding way over there to see what else we need. We have a remote, and then we have a teleporter and a telly holder. What is a telly holder, you ask? Well, it's a empty holder. It's just a empty blueprint class that we create so that we can easily move certain devices around. Some devices do not like being moved by themselves, and so typically whenever I'm moving anything, I just put an empty as the parent and move the empty, and that makes it easier. So to create that empty blueprint, what we're going to do is we're going to go into our project folder, and we're going to right click and click blueprint class, and then we're going to click building prop, and that just creates this empty blueprint class that we can drop into our world. And so when I drop this in here, you'll see it's literally, like I said, it's empty. It's nothing. All it is saving the position and rotation of this nothing. But that's super useful. It's super useful because we can put stuff as the child of it. So here we have this empty, but when we move this one around, oh, the teleporter moves too, because the teleporter is a child of our empty holder. And so those are the other two devices or other two things linked in our game manager. Okay, is our remote, our teleporter, and our telly holder. And this teleporter, I don't think I have any like settings set up weird on it, but if I do, here's all the settings on the teleporter, just in case. You know how tutorials go. You've done this before. You've been here. All right, there's all the settings. Good job. You copied them down so fast. So The other thing we need is our spawn pads. Spawn pads are super useful because that's how players get into the game. And we need to be able to listen to whenever players spawn so that we can capture that and create stuff based on that. Plus, when someone spawns, that's a big moment. That's their birthday, and we need to celebrate birthdays. So that's what we need. We grab their spawn pad, and to capture their spawn, we're going to set these up using tags. Now, if you've never used tags before, let me introduce you. We're going to get into the game manager, and we have this line of code. This is it. This is what you need to set up your tags for the initial bit, right? We're going to type in spawner, which is the variable we're creating. That's our name. We could name this whatever we want. We say spawner is equal to the class tag, and then we do these little goofy brackets. Okay, and that once we do that, once this code exists in any of your files, save it, build your code, and then hop back into UEFN. And when we're in here, we click on our spawner. We have this little add button. We type in tag into the little search box, and we get verse tag markup. Now, I've already connected it in here, but you would click that, and this pops up, verse tag markup, and you get this little settings thing down here. And we would click edit, and boom, there's spawner. That's the thing we created in code, and now it's here. So we click it and enable spawner, or we add that to the list of tags for this device. And so once we do that, we'll see over here it says spawner. Now, you'll have to do that for each of your spawn pads. Okay? I don't know how many spawn pads you have in your map, but each one would need that tag of spawner in it. If you add it to one, you can then duplicate your spawn pad around, and the rest will be dealt with. It'll be fine. So, why do we need that? Let's hop into the code. So here we have our editables of the remote, the teleporter, and the telly holder. We already talked about those. You know what those are. Remote is a signal remote manager device. Teleporter device. Telly holder is a creative prop. Okay, this is the empty that we created, and in code we're going to call that a creative prop. Even though it's nothing, it's a creative prop to them. Next, we have this custom players map that we're going to build. This is, oh man, custom players map. Players maps are like a magic little nugget of being able to associate data and variables to players. Not even just data and variables. You can associate functions. You can do all kinds of stuff on a player-by-player basis thanks to these custom player maps. Okay, so this is super useful, super important. Once we get into the game manager, of course, on begin is going to be the first thing to run, and we will initialize the spawners. All right, and real quick, we're also going to subscribe to the primary signal event of our remote, right? And that'll be tied to on remote pressed. But we're going to initialize spawners. So once we run initialize spawners, it's gonna take a couple steps, but it's gonna get there. It's gonna run through all this stuff. I don't want to go through all of this with you because it's kind of dense and it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter that you understand everything here just yet. The important bits here is all the way down here. All right. We're gonna go through all this stuff, and the important thing is we're gonna end up with a custom player that is tied to our custom player class. We're gonna pass in player, and then we will initialize custom player. Okay. This, as far as we need to care, this is just gonna be magic. and we're going to let it be magic. We don't need to understand the whole world. Not in a short video. All right. But custom player equals custom underscore player. Custom underscore player is the name of my custom player class. This guy. In this other file. So custom player, everything in this file, which isn't that much, it's 42 lines of code, some of which isn't even used. All of this is only going to exist, or is going to exist for every person in your game. All right. So when we get in here, we get in here through init, right? That's what we were doing here in the game manager. We said, hey, we're going to look at custom player and we will init. We will initialize. Initialize gets run, and the only thing we really need to care about right now is our time travel loop. Okay, this will spawn and start our time travel loop. Time travel loop, pretty simple. It's 4 lines. It starts a loop and it says, hey, we're going to wait 1 second. We're just going to chill. We're going to wait 1 second. And then we're going to start this other code. Okay? We're going to start this time delay capture. But every second, I want you to start this code. And what's neat about spawn is it doesn't have to care if this code's already done writing or running. It'll just start a whole new thread of this same code. And they can run at the same time. So this loop takes 1 second. But time delay capture is right here. Time delay capture, this is going to take 5 seconds. Why does it take 5 seconds? Well, what it does is it hops in here and it says, hey, we're going to grab player.getForkCharacter, and we're going to call that player character. Okay, where are we getting player from? We're getting player from the game manager. We passed it in over here, right? Custom player, initialize, we're going to pass in player. So in here, in the custom player, we have player.getForkCharacter. We're going to call that the player character. Okay? Player character, why do we need that? Because we need to be able to get certain variables and transforms and locations, all this stuff. We need to be able to capture data from our character. So we're going to say, hey, player.getForkCharacter, that's player character. We need to capture their location. We need to capture their health. Player location is going to be player character, which is what we named right here, dot get transform. Now, a transform is all of this stuff. See here, it says transform. That's the location, the rotation, and the scale of your, in this case, your character. And that's the data we want, right? That's what we're trying to deal with. So we need to get their transform, and we need to get their health, because we're trying to save those variables. That's what we're trying to be able to say 5 seconds ago. Then, once we've grabbed that data, once we've grabbed it, we're just going to hold on to it. We're just going to chill. We're going to hold on to it for 5 seconds. And after those 5 seconds are up, we're going to write those values to this other class I created called timeholder. And we're going to save that to timeholder.location and timeholder.health, right? So timeholder.location equals player location and .health equals player health. What is timeholder? Timeholder, up here we say timeholder is time travel equals time travel. Time travel is this class that is just 2 variables, right? But it's 2 variables that are different types. One of them's a transform, one of them's a float. And it lets me kind of package these up in one little thing all together. So if we wanted to, we could add shield to this. You could add, I don't know, other stuff. And then we could, capture that and reset that as well, while only having to pass this one object of time travel through our code. So we have this class time travel. Down here, we're instantiating that, calling it time holder, and then we're setting the location and the health of that variable to what our player has, or had 5 seconds ago, rather. And then this is just going to keep looping. It's going to say every second, hey, go out, grab their current state, hold on to it for 5 seconds, and then write it to this time holder class. Okay? And that's pretty much it that's happening here. That's the entire thing that this has impact on right now. But then we have this get time travel state. And this guy, interesting deal, is that it's got this return. Now, what is return? Return means when we call this function, we're trying to get something out of it. We're trying to get a variable out of it. And we want to get time holder. Notice we're not doing time holder dot location. We're not doing time holder dot health, just time holder. And that captures both of these. Okay? Usually when we start a function, we'll have like the colon void equals. Here we have colon time travel equals, because time travel is the type. That's like the class here that we're trying to pass through. So we have to put time travel there. If we put void, that means we don't want to pass anything out of it. But we wanted to pass this time travel class, and here we're calling it, again, time holder. But when does this get run? When do you think this would get used? Probably when we use the remote, right? So let's get back here. We say the remote, subscribe on remote pressed. Whenever the remote gets pressed, we need to, one, grab the agent, the player that is using the remote, and that just gets passed in from the subscribe. The subscribe says, hey, we're going to run on remote pressed, and we're going to give you the agent that did it. And then we can take that agent and spawn our start teleporting function. And we're going to pass that same agent into this so that we keep track of who we're giving a hoot about. Once we're in start teleporting, we need to say, hey, we pulled an agent in here. We need an agent to run this code. And we're getting it from these parentheses up here. So we get that agent. And here is just checking if it's a valid player and if they exist in our players map. And once we have that done, I put this at like the top of almost all of my functions that need custom player data. This is my copy paste happy place right here. Once we are in here, we can start going through it, right? We're going to say, okay, time travel data is equal to custom player dot get time travel state. Wait, we've seen get time travel state before. That's over here. That's the thing that I talked about for too long about having time travel right here. Get time travel state is just going to pull the time holder variable out of this custom player loop and bring it into our game manager. Once it's in here, we're saying, oh, okay, in here we're going to call it time travel data. That's our data that we have retrieved from the time travel machine. And we need to separate that out into a couple of pieces to be able to use it in our functions. Okay, so we need the player location. We need the player rotation. Player location, colon, vector3 equals time travel data, right here, dot location, because that's what we set up in our class. That's the like sub thing that we're holding it in. And then dot translation, right? So dot location is a transform, and then translation is the translation. That's the translation. That's this one, the location, the XYZ of moving. And then we needed to do a similar thing for the rotation route. player rotation is rotation, location dot rotation. That's a lot of ishin. So now that we have this data separated out, we can throw that into a move to. Okay, we're going to say move result equals telly holder, which is that empty that's holding our teleporter, right? That's our empty holder, our telly holder. We're going to say telly holder move to player location, player rotation, and we're going to do that in 0.01 seconds. We're going to do it pretty quick. And we want this to be saved. We want the result of that to be saved here as move result. What that lets us do is this little bit of magic where it says if move result equals move to result, destination reached, meaning is it done moving? Has it reached where we wanted it to go, where we told it to go? Is it there? If it's already there, then we're going to teleport the player. We are getting agent by passing it in already. Teleporter is the teleporter that we set up. Teleport is a function that teleporter has. So we're saying, hey, teleporter, I want you to use your teleport ability, and I want you to use that ability on agent. Okay? And then while we're still here, we're going to restore their health as well. We're going to pull their health value by saying, hey, if player character, get fort character. So now player character is what we're calling our character. Player character dot set health. And what do we want to set it to? We want to set it to time travel data dot health, because that's the data we pulled out of the time machine. And that's it. That's the whole thing, man. It's literally, I know it was a little bit of a journey to get here. This has been 22 minutes of your life, and I appreciate you sticking around. But I mean, this is 80 lines of code on this one, and I'll call it 39 on here, and half of that is usings. So I think it's neat, and this helped me understand a lot of how this stuff kind of gets tied together. And I hope this made sense, because I'm trying real hard, man. But if you guys end up using this in something, let me know. I'd love to see whatever you guys build using this kind of thing. I feel like there's got to be some really cool puzzle maps or something building this kind of thing. So if you do, let me know. And either way, happy building. Happy building. I'm done. And